Yes, like Q, I'm hiding my identity because, quite frankly, I'm a little afraid of the QAnons.
On June 9th, Alpolis Slyman posted this video to his Facebook.
Once the facts are out, that was just a theory. That's a fact.
2 days later,
I'm not driving like a madman.
Slyman gathered 5 of his children into a vehicle, allegedly throwing their mother out of the car after being convinced she was trafficking their children.
Geez, he threw his wife out of a moving car? Now that's frightening. I definitely want to stay hidden from QAnons like him. Plus, in my videos, I will be showing you the connection between Russia's cyber intelligence and Q. Have you seen what Putin does to his criticizers?
The inquiry heard that as he lay on his deathbed, he told them he'd been targeted by the Russian Secret Service on the personal orders of Vladimir Putin.
A definite motivation to stay hidden. So if you think you recognize me, shh, mum's the word. And help us send this information out into the internet world by liking this and sharing it with others. And yes, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can easily find the other videos in this series. In the first video, we demonstrated that as a former KGB spy and a professional liar who studies his enemies, Putin is a master manipulator. But why go after us? Am I just being paranoid with my own conspiracy theory?
He was trained in the Soviet secret police, the KGB, to see the United States as the enemy. It was drilled into all the officers.
The KGB was a monopoly that produced violence. It was a monopoly that was responsible for political surveillance.
As a KGB officer, Putin was well trained in using psychology as warfare. In the 1960s, the KGB did some fascinating psychological experiments where they proved that if you bombard human subjects with fear messages nonstop, in only 2 months or less, most of the subjects are completely brainwashed to believe the false message. Brainwashed to the point that no amount of clear information they are shown to the contrary can change their mind. One of the most powerful tools QAnon has been using to pull people in is the mistrust of traditional news. The mantra fake news runs through all of QAnon's publications. Trump states news is fake at every chance he gets, and he's been doing so since he first got in office. I wonder where he learned that KGB lesson.
In the evening, at the G20 dinner hosted by Angela Merkel, the two presidents held a second secret meeting.
Guess we'll never know, but keep in mind he started this from day one of his presidency and repeats it every time he's in front of an audience. 4 years, much more time than what the KGB said is needed to brainwash people. So how does Putin feel about the media?
That Putin made clear the broadcast media, which is how most Russians get their news, was no longer going to be outsourced. This was going to be a state-run operation, and it's remained that way throughout Putin's term.
What does Republican President George W. Bush think about the media?
The nation needs a free and independent press. And the reason why is that power can be very corrupting. And we need a press corps to hold politicians to account, including me.
Q's followers refuse to listen to any mainstream media. Instead, they are listening to people who, unlike professional news organizations, don't have to show any evidence for things they say, kind of like the paparazzi. They're also listening to other QAnons who say they are decoding information from Q and Trump.
They dabbled in the early stages of QAnon, building a following of 20,000 on social media.
They're very cryptic sort of messages that require a level of deciphering. We do some of that, but a lot of times we just rely on what people that we call the Anons.
Remember the saying, a wolf can be found in sheep's clothing? I say people use discernment. This last year, Trump started applying KGB, now called GRU, brainwashing tactics toward the election, claiming fake election in front of every audience he had. The worse his poll numbers are, the more he repeats this. First, he gave very specific details as to how he expects the election tampering to go. And interesting enough, it matches exactly what happened in Russia's last election.
This was the largest demonstration held in Russia, in Moscow, since the Democratic Revolution of August 1991.
The protests had been sparked by claims that Putin's party had rigged the parliamentary election. Allegations of fraud captured for the first time on cell phone videos.
They took their smartphones and they recorded everything. And they immediately uploaded that on the internet, and the whole country could see it. So the social networks have played a huge role in those protests.
They saw ballot boxes being stuffed even before the polls opened.
Ballot stuffing. Suddenly people saw this evidence with their own eyes, and there was no explaining it away.
Ballots hidden in the bathroom. Campaign officials filling out ballots. The pens at one polling place filled with erasable ink.
Interesting. That is exactly to what Trump is saying will happen here. How could Trump be so specific? I wonder if is it possible he's being coached, getting private coaching by Putin? I mean, I don't know if that's true, but you know what they say, to be successful, you need a private coach. So I don't know. Even though Trump, along with millions of other Americans, has previously successfully mailed in his ballots for years, he started attacking mail-in ballots. He tweets and speaks negatively about this consistently. Then, fearing that brainwashing isn't going to be enough, he appoints his old friend Louis DeJoy to Postmaster General. Previously, DeJoy was CEO of XPO Supply Chain. So now we have the retired CEO of a business that competes with the United States Post Office in charge of the post office. I wonder how much stock he owns in the XPO now. Does that sound like a white hat working to take power away from the rich? DeJoy immediately gets rid of machines and makes policy changes that slows the mail delivery service down, while at the same time, Trump starts spouting out it's not safe to wait on mail-in ballots to be counted. Fearing that he might not be able to stop the mail-in ballots, Trump returns to the old KGB trick once again as he encourages his followers to disrespect our democratic election.
The president ramping up his claims without evidence that a surge in mail-in ballots will produce widespread fraud. The reporter emphasizing how the country is already bitterly divided.
But people are rioting. Do you commit to making sure that there's a peaceful transfer of power?
We want to get rid of the ballots, and you'll have a very peaceful. There won't be a transfer, frankly. There'll be a continuation.
He said this 40 days before the election, and with no evidence. What are other Republicans saying?
Mitt Romney tweeting, fundamental to democracy is the peaceful transition of power. Without that, there is Belarus. Any suggestion that a president might not respect this constitutional guarantee is both unthinkable and unacceptable. 4 years ago, candidate Trump was asked if he would accept the results if he lost to Hillary Clinton.
What I'm saying is that I will tell you at the time. I'll keep you in suspense.
Well,
okay?
Chris, let me respond to that because that's horrifying.
Later, he encourages his followers to be ready to revolt.
Well,
then do it, sir.
Say it. Do it. Say it. Do you want to call him? What do you want to call him? Give me a name. Give me a
white
name.
supremacists and
white supremacists
and right
Proud Boys. Stand back and stand by.
He started his cries of rigged election months before the election. In fact, years if you count that he claimed that before the 2016 election. Always without any evidence and in as many places as possible. Republicans and Democrats alike have confirmed there is zero evidence in this. Yet he continues to cling to his false narrative, broadcasting as often as he can while he holds up in the White House. Does this sound like another action taken from Putin's playbook to you? Is QAnon being used by Russian spies? And who benefits from QAnon? Let's dig deeper in our next video. Hit like and subscribe and share this video. Let's inform others. And you can contact me at saveourdemocracy@gmail.com.